Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel V. Hill, presented by Superbook Sports. Taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel V. Hill.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I can't believe it's Wednesday. I woke up this morning and here in the Mile High City, it's looking a little chilly outside. I'm wondering if we're going to get some snow or just enjoy the cloudy weather. Whether or not, I'm so stoked that you guys are hanging out with us for a little bit. There's a ton to get into, including some new news coming out of Boulder, which is really exciting. And of course, we all know Prime has brought in a ton of money to the University of Colorado, and there will be a new video board up there at Folsom. The video board is expected to be 5 times the surface area of the current board. So it seems like they're getting a little bit of the same knowledge that maybe Empower Field is getting, because we obviously know they upgraded their new board. So that's going to be exciting. Obviously great to see. I love Folsom. I think it's beautiful up there, even as a Ram. I will say that it's just stunning. So exciting stuff. I know Will Petersen is working on an article over at denversports.com. So definitely check that out. And he'll have some more details about what that's going to look like, when you'll be able to see it, etc. He will also be joining the show in a little bit to talk about the Colorado Avalanche and the game that they had last night. Holy crap, it felt like a playoff game, you guys. It was crazy. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it to the end of it. I was like falling asleep, and I was just like, you know what? I have to be up early, prepare the show and everything. So I went to bed, but I was so stoked to be able to see that they were able to pull off a win. So we will dive into everything. I've seen all the highlights. I rewatched the third period. So excited to talk about that with Will Petersen. I know you guys loved having Jesse on the show yesterday, so we will definitely be getting him on more often too. But you guys, I need to talk about it. You saw the title of the show for today. There's too much we coming out of Boulder. It's time Prime takes a step back. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be upset with me when I say this. And I'm not saying that as a coach, but I'm saying there's a lot of we when it comes to who he is being as a dad. And I think that it is kind of this fine line between being your dad and being a coach and wanting what's best. And there's been a few clips that have gone viral this week that we're going to play too. But it's essentially about his son, Shedeur, and Shiloh too, when they will decide to go into the NFL and everything like that. So let's play one of these clips, because yesterday he was asked about, if Shedeur essentially decides to want to go to the NFL, how that will look. Take a listen.
I'm a great dad. So as a dad, I'm a great dad. Let's stop right there. As a dad, I am balling. As a dad, I'm a Hall of Famer. As a dad, I'm an All-American. As a dad, I'm a Pro Bowler. As a dad, I'm a flat-out winner. As a dad, exclamation mark. I'm him.
As a dad who knows the NFL people that you know, would there be a grade or an evaluation on Shedeur that would make both of you, or either you go, maybe we should look at the next level, maybe we should look
Why
at
would we, and we having a great time here? When we appreciate and we love what we are, it's hard to look at someone else.
Why would we, when we appreciate our time here? I think that's fascinating when Coach Prime, and I have the most upward respect for Coach Prime and the way he's handled everything, and I appreciate his honesty when it comes to everything. And I don't know the conversations that have gone on behind the scenes, and I accept that. However, I do think that this is Shedeur's responsibility to make that decision for himself. Through 9 games, Shedeur has thrown for 2,802 yards, 24 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and sets you to a 4-5 record. Now, of course, a 4-5 record is a little bit halting, but many have him as the 3rd or 4th listed quarterback in this year's draft. So it's like, okay, well, if he's ready to make that move, why not make that move? If that's what he wants to do. Personally, I would love to see Shedeur come back to CU and play another year and be able to see what it's going to look like. So I just don't love that it's a we conversation when it's coming to Prime saying this about his son. And of course, Shiloh comes into the conversation too. We're going to play another clip from the Dan Patrick Show. But I don't love that it's we. I think it should be he has to make that decision for himself. So let's play this Dan Patrick Prime comment about Shedeur and Shiloh, and if Prime would ever go to the NFL.
Is the NFL a goal eventually in your life?
Coaching?
Yeah.
No, not whatsoever. I don't think I'm built for the NFL. I don't think, because I appreciate the game so much, and I respect the game so much, of what the game has consistently done for me for a multitude of years, that when I see a guy getting paid millions and millions of dollars and he has no respect for the game, does not want to excel and exceed expectations in the game, I'm going to have a true problem. So I'm the kind of coach that would go out there with 53 and come back after halftime with about 32. because I can't do it. Like I'm too brutally honest, and I want to win that much, and I need everybody that respects the game. And oftentimes, money clouds that judgment. That is happening in college football. Money clouds that love and that passion for the game.
What if it's a package deal with you and Shador?
Don't forget Shiloh, by the way. Don't forget Shiloh.
Eventually he's coming.
No, yeah, they're going to come out the same year next year.
Okay.
They better not try to leave Daddy this year, by the way. I don't know. I haven't thought, man, I'm trying to win a game. I'm not thinking down the street that far. I haven't thought like that. That's a great thought process, though.
I love his honesty too, where he's talking about why he couldn't go to the NFL because money clouds judgment. And I think that's totally true. You know, he's like, I'll go into the locker room at half with 53 and come out with 32. I love that about Prime. But then again, same thing where it comes down to his sons. And now, would Prime head to the NFL if it's a like double deal with his sons? And the quote is, they're going to come out the same year, next year. They better not try to leave Daddy right away. Like I said, I am not a part of the conversations that they have behind closed doors, but I feel like if either one of those guys are right, if Shador feels like he can go into the NFL this year, I don't see why that should stop him. I do love that Coach Prime's not thinking too far ahead. He's like, I just have to win a game this week, but I don't think that it would be out of the realm of possibility. Would you guys, let me know in the comments, would you guys be surprised if Coach Prime left? But here's my thing. I think he's so close with his sons. And this is where I kind of struggle because everybody wants Prime to be in Boulder for a really, really long time. I just can't imagine Prime not being at a game on Sunday for either Shiloh or Shador. I just can't. And if he's coaching at CU, how is he going to be able to pull that off unless one of them goes to the Denver Broncos? I just don't see how that's going to work. And that makes me wonder maybe why he's not willing to sign this crazy long extension. Like, what's going to happen when it comes to Prime and when those two gentlemen leave CU, leave Boulder? I don't know, but I do think that there is something where it's so much of a we conversation that they're having up in Boulder compared to just their careers. That's what's happening with them. Like I said, I have the utmost respect for Coach Prime, but I definitely do think some things it's a we and not them living out their lives. And so I think that's also going to halt them from seeing a huge contract extension with Coach Prime. It's just my personal opinion. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it, because I do know that some people are definitely on I would love to see Coach Prime, but also he is a dad and he's obviously very close to his sons too. I think he should stay at CU, but please fix the O-line. I would go because of the O-line. Oh, yeah, the O-line has been a constant struggle. I'm sure that they're going to look to beef it up, but Shador, you just hope he can stay healthy at that point. I mean, we're already seeing him going into halftime for the past 2 games to try and get injections to be able to play the second half and be able to go out there. I have a huge amount of respect too for Shador being like, I have to go out there for the rest of my teammates. He said that in the post game this past weekend. So ton of respect there for him too as well. But yeah, the O-line is definitely scary and you just hope that they can stay healthy. The Broncos' new facility details, we touched on it just a smidge yesterday, but some new stuff is coming out about it. So the building will be a 30% larger than the current headquarters building. It's going to cover 3 stories, and everybody's been like, what about the parking? They're covering up all the parking. Where will people be able to park? Myself included. That's where the media parks. It will be 3 stories with an underground parking garage, which is kind of cool to think. I love that they're going to build up. You have the ability to build up and not out and around. So I love that they're really utilizing that space, and that will enable them to currently have the same amount of parking that they have too. So I love that. Now, some of the functional issues that come with Centura Health Training Center right now is that there are like the day-to-day operations for a lot of stuff is actually at Empower Field. So they're hoping to be able to bring all of that back, which I love too. Being able to have it out there, I think will also be a huge benefit. Just be able to be close, like in closer proximity to each other too. And then the locker room right now, the Denver Broncos locker room is believed to be the smallest everyday locker room in the NFL. So that's crazy. They've had multiple expansions in that space, and it still remains to be one of the smallest ones. So it's like, all right, it's time to improve this. Let's give these guys a little bit more space too. The locker room received a D+ grade last time. It was the 22nd in the NFL. Player feedback included notes that there weren't enough like spaces or not enough showers, not enough bathroom areas. So hopefully that they're able to get that going. And again, $175 million. I can't imagine what this locker room is going to look like after all is said and done, which will be really exciting. But the most asked question that everybody has had is, what is going to happen with Broncos training camp as this gets underway to go. And of course, this won't be done until 2026. So what is going to happen to Broncos training camp as there's going to be construction on the ground? They want you guys to not worry, that people will still be able to attend training camp, which will be great. It'll be open, but they're going to have bleachers now once this is all said and done, which I find to be very fascinating. I remember as a kid going and sitting on the grass, which everybody loves to do. You're hot, you're sweaty, you're moving around, and you're like, all right. So now there will be bleachers for everybody that they can hang out to. And this will ensure as well, they're going to be facing east and west. So you're not staring at the sun for any of those morning sessions as well, which I love because we all know, me personally, I have been victimized by the sun sitting out there for Broncos training camp many, many, many times. So I do love that for sure. If you haven't seen it too, let me just pull up these videos of some of the updates. You guys, it's beautiful. I think it's going to be absolutely stunning when all is said and done. You've got the 3 fields. It's going to look so good. I'm really excited to see kind of everything once that wraps up as well. So again, huge shout out to the Denver Broncos for allowing us to use those images. They look absolutely amazing. Tonight, you guys, lots of fun stuff tonight. I'm excited for Will to join us to talk about the Avs, but the Golden State Warriors are in town. Anytime Steph Curry comes into town, I feel just as lucky to watch him because I do think that he is one of the best point guards the game has ever seen. So I always get super pumped up. We're going to ask Will Petersen essentially what he's expecting from the Jamal-less Nuggets and if they can take on the Golden State Warriors. Of course, we got the NBA champs in our back pocket, which is always great to see, but plenty of good stuff to come from that as well for all of my Nuggets fans that are hanging out with us. Sticking on the Broncos, this is absolutely ridiculous, you guys. Are you ready? Josie Jewell was fined. I laugh just looking at this. He was fined $13,000 for doing his pew pew finger gun celebration. Zach Allen was also fined $13,000 for this. It's getting to the point that it's absolutely ridiculous what we're seeing when it comes to the fines that the NFL is handing out. I saw one and it was going viral, I think last week. I don't remember which team it was from, but the guy essentially just ran in for a touchdown and all of a sudden he's getting fined $20,000. It's getting to be outrageous. And I'm curious how you guys are. I personally love it. Okay. I love when you have the celebrations, the touchdown celebrations, if you want to do your little pew pew fingers. I love it. I think it's fun. It's the same thing in hockey where I get pissed off that they want to stop fighting. I love the fighting. If the guys want to fight. Who cares? Let them go at each other. I think it adds to the game. Same thing with the celebrations. I'm getting pissed off that they're now having to be worried about getting fined $13,000 for a celebration. I just think it's getting absolutely ridiculous. And I'm starting to be like, NFL, what are we doing? You're taking away some of this, energy that comes with the game. The unsportsmanlike conduct. I think that's a bit ridiculous. Trust me, there is a time and place where there are fines that need to be handed out. But for something like this is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm totally over it. I'm just done. I'm like, screw that. We're over it too. Also, I woke up this morning and I was thinking, I'm like, all right, Bills on Monday night, right? We got this weekend. It also made me realize this is the first time that Von Miller is going to play for play against the Broncos. That is crazy to me. For how long he's been gone, this will be the first time he will play the Broncos in his career. And wow, think about how much has changed in Von Miller's career from the time he was here. While he's no longer in his prime, he's obviously dealing with injuries. He still is an impact player. So what type of impact will he have on the game come Sunday? I don't know. I know that PS2 had spoke about how he was excited. He's a leader and he really looks up to Von Miller. So it's going to be fun to be able to see these guys interact a little bit. But yeah, I was like, holy smokes. This will be the first time that Von Miller will play against the Broncos in his career. Excited to see him out there. I still wish he was on the Broncos, but obviously that time has come and gone. But yeah, I was like, nice. It's kind of exciting. ESPN also put out an article this morning about what we know and what we still don't know about each NFL team. And you guys, what we do know about the Broncos, and this part little stings. Of course, they're saying we don't really know about this team because one time they're getting 70 dropped on them by the Miami Dolphins, and then a few weeks later they're beating the Chiefs. So it's all just kind of this big what the heck's going on. But also the chances to make the playoffs. This is what stood out to me the most. 1.9% chance to make the playoffs, and the chances to win their division are 0.1. That doesn't come as any surprise to me at all because obviously the Chiefs will probably run away with the division. Then what we don't know, will the Broncos concede that they are better on offense than when they lean into the run game? They have consistently been one of the league leaders this season in percentage of explosive runs, rushing planes of 10 or more yards, and run win rate. They've consistently been in the top 3. Yet their offensive series often become pass, 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 punt. Quarterback Russell Wilson has had 5 games in his career with fewer than 120 yards passing, and 2 of those have come in the Broncos' past 3 games. More running looks could settle him in and give the Broncos more of the play action passing game they'd like. More rush, less Russ. More rush, less Russ. Let's see it. Let's run the ball. Let's allow Russ, if needed to, be able to be the guy that can run around and be able to put up a pass. That's what we need to see out of Russell Wilson. We need him, unfortunately, to be a bit of a game manager. That's the case. I'm sorry. I know people don't love that, and we don't love that we might have to pay him a whole lot of money to be able to do that. We want him to be better, but he's becoming an older quarterback in the league, so we're not going to just 100% see it. So let's rush the ball more. It's working. To be honest, and I think Broncos country can all agree on this, if this team continues to win, you're not going to care what Russell Wilson looks like. And that is the truth that I think so many people don't want to agree with, but they totally will. If the Denver Broncos are winning games, even just by completely rushing, people will not care what Russell Wilson looks like. So yeah, rush the ball. Rush the dang ball. I feel like I need to be in the blind side where I'm like, run the dang ball, everybody. That's what we need to see. Let me know. The Denver Broncos continue to win games. I wish I could do a poll. I can't do a poll today. But if we could, the Denver Broncos continue to win games. Do you really care if Russ is just a game manager? Because I know I sure as heck do not. It's definitely one of those things where you're kind of like, all right, here we go, Russ. And everybody, I know we want to see more of Marvin Mims. Trust me, I am also there. I want to see more of Marvin Mims. And Sean Payton is listening. He said on Monday during their media availability that his name was on a notepad that he was looking at right there. So we're hoping that we are going to see more of Marvin Mims out there. I've talked about it. I know people are sick of hearing me talk about Jerry Jeudy and Marvin Mims, how I wish they would have traded it. I get it, but I do want to see more Marvin Mims. Let's see what we've got, because the opportunity to still be able to try and get some draft picks later on down the road, it's there. It doesn't all just stop with the trade deadline. I know once the season's over, you never know what you can do. You never know who you can take away, who you can trade, what you can do with that. So I want to see more of Marvin Mims. I know you guys want to see more of Marvin Mims. Trust me, we're listening. Did we also hear last night? I'm so confused on this when it comes to Josh McDaniels. So he obviously got fired on Halloween. Everybody knows that. Lots of people in Denver and Broncos country were laughing. He got fired. He called his family back while his kids were out trick-or-treating just to tell them that he had gotten fired. I'm like, first of all, why couldn't you have just told them when they got home? It's not like they were probably trick-or-treating till, 11 o'clock at night. Let your kids go out, trick-or-treat, enjoy getting their candy, and then you can tell them that you got fired there, Josh. I just don't quite understand. I know so many people in the comments on some of these Twitter threads were absolutely just like railing into him of like, why could you have not just told your kids following that? I don't understand it. But it happened. He called his kids home while they were out trick-or-treating to tell them they got fired. I am fascinated by what's going to happen with the Raiders this weekend. I know we obviously looked a little bit at kind of last weekend, and there always seems to be this little bit of when a coach gets fired, there's a big change and they're able to go out there for the new guy and be able to play, some of the football that they really like to see in a comfortable situation. And we saw that last week with the Raiders win. So definitely always something. Also, I went back at the comments yesterday because I heard Champ Bailey on that NFL Network thing. It was Champ Kelly, but I will say the guy that was getting interviewed did say Champ Bailey, which is why it caught me so off guard, but he was definitely talking about Champ Kelly. So don't worry, everybody. That was just me, but he did say Champ Bailey, and I think he was just mixing up a few players. All right. I do still Will Petersen in the background, so of course I'm excited to have him on. Will and I have been doing a lot of the Mile High Hockey podcast, so we've got to talk plenty about the Avs, and we're finally talking about a Will Petersen. Good morning.
Hey, what's up, Rachel? How are you?
I'm good. Talking lots of football. Obviously excited about the new video board that's going up in Folsom. I was like, oh, they clearly got the idea maybe from Empower Field because we have a big one down there. But yeah, I heard you wrote an article over there at Denver Sports, told everybody to check it out with a few more details.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the biggest thing is 5 times the surface area of the old board. We all know it's like this tiny little board. Whenever you go to Folsom, you're like, wait, what? It was one of the smallest in the Power 5, and now CU is boasting it will get them above the national average. So they're not pulling a Broncos and saying, "Hey, fourth biggest in the world," but it's in the top tier now, or at least above 50%. So I think Rick George will take that as a win. $15 million, by the way.
That's the prime effect, right? When you start getting a whole lot of money from your head coach, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hey, what should we do with some of this money?" And that
Well,
includes a new video board.
and it's like, how are we going to pay Prime? Well, 15 million. How are you going to pay for that? They are interesting notes soliciting donations. So, I assume the university will fund some of this, but they're also like, hey, if people want to give a few bucks, we're not going to say no.
All right. Well, very interesting. Will Petersen, though, we are so happy to be talking about a win for this Colorado Avalanche team for sure. Last night's game was crazy. Like, truthfully, I felt like I was out of my seat. I could not stay up. I tried so hard to keep my eyes open, so I missed the last 2 goals, but it was just absolutely insane. Did you make it to the final buzzer?
I did. Yeah, I'm a kind of a night owl. You missed a really nice pass from Mikko Rantanen to Nathan MacKinnon. A pass he had to pass twice because his first one, the Devils player hit the stick and it came right back to Mikko. So he just said, all right. And he shoved it back to Nathan. And Nathan had a nice backhand to beat the goalie to make it 5-3. And then the 6th goal was Mikko from 180 feet, literally the entire length of the ice, an absolute snipe into an empty net for the 6-3 win.
That's what you love to see, too. I'm so happy that they were able to get back on track. But last night's game was spicy. Lots of hits. Obviously, we saw a major on Ross Colton, so he leaves. But Will, I was kind of happy with it. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, at least show me there's a little bit of firepower out there and that you guys are pissed off and that you want to be able to bring some energy to this game, because that's what it felt like. It finally felt like a page got turned and all of a sudden there was like this firepower that got lit up underneath this Avs team.
Yeah, it had like the intensity of a game 7 for something in November. I found that pretty interesting, but I think it showed you how desperate the Avs were for 2 points coming off the debacle in Vegas. And Rachel, I want to point out that their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th goals were scored by 3 new guys. They were scored by Ross Colton, Miles Wood, and Ryan Johansson. And I thought that was huge because it was like, this is the depth scoring. This is the replacements for the guys who couldn't get it done last year. And then, of course, Nathan gets 1 and Mikko gets 2. It's like, that's the perfect balance. Your stars get 3, your new guys get 3. You wind up with 6 goals, and the Avalanche remain unbeaten when they score at least 1 goal this year. Such a wild stat. Every game they've scored at least 1 goal. They're 8-0. The 3 games they've obviously been shut out, they're 0-3.
Yeah, no kidding. And even too, you kind of look at that second period. It was literally like the Devils were on a power play for what felt like the entire time, but it still didn't feel like the Avs had just kind of hung it up and were like, all right, like, let's just look ahead to the 3rd period. And that's what I've loved, kind of seeing the difference, where sometimes it did feel like they were like, all right, we'll move ahead to the next period. And it was just full on like, let's go, let's ride. Like, we have to be able to win this period to win this game.
Yeah, 2nd period was crazy intense. Certainly the wildest period of hockey we've seen from the Avalanche all year. You mentioned Ross Colton. We've learned in the last 20 minutes, I don't know if you've said it yet or not, he got a $5,000 fine, the maximum allowed, but that probably means no suspension, which is big because the broadcast, both the play-by-play and the studio guys, were speculating a suspension of at least 1 game, if not 2, for Ross Colton, based on what NHL player safety is saying. It sounds like he avoided it. Now, sometimes they do the fine on top of the suspension, but most people are interpreting it as just announcing the fine means Ross Colton will not be suspended. Obviously, a pretty ugly 12 seconds for him between the boarding and the high stick. Got kicked out of the game, but if that's all that comes of it, then he'll move on gladly.
No, I appreciate you bringing some of that news there. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take that. He's just going to get the fine of the $5,000 because typically, like you said, when they do that, it'll be like, oh, they'll have a meeting after being suspended and then they try and like overturn it or whatever. So I love that. That makes me happy because you're right. These not younger guys, but these new guys have really just stepped up. But if you look back to the Stanley Cup run, Will, that was so much of what it was. That's why that the Avs were able to really make moves and go the entire length because of the guys that weren't the stars. And that's what this team needs. They still have the stars. Now can these other guys, a Ross Colton, can he get out there and be able to, perform and do a little bit more?
Well, and I think an unhappy Nathan MacKinnon in Vegas is just, Rachel, he's not like having a meltdown, but he's just asking for some help, right?
Yeah.
He's just saying, I can be Nathan MacKinnon. He can be Kel McCarr. He can be Mikko Rantanen. but we need some help. And they got the help last night from the new guys. And you're right, when they won the cup, it was the Kadris and the Burakovskis and the Lehkonen, who was a trade deadline acquisition, who's obviously still here. They need those depth guys, and they got them last night, and they got 6 goals, and that one felt good for the Avs. That felt like a 2 points they needed to have, wash the sour taste of Vegas. And even, some people are saying, oh, what's going on with the Avs? Well, big picture, they're still 8-3. If I had offered you 8-3 3 weeks ago, y'all would have taken 8-3. So that's where they're at right now.
No, 100%. I think coming back home too definitely helps, as we'll look forward to Seattle later this week too. Let's move on to tonight though, because the Warriors are in town. And I feel like you can never count out the Warriors, especially now that it seems like all the drama they had with Jordan Poole, Draymond Green has kind of exited that locker room. I'm excited about tonight's game. What are you feeling? How you feeling? Are you taking the Nuggets or are you taking the Warriors?
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets have looked utterly unstoppable at home. Even when the Pelicans built a huge lead the other night, the Nuggets just put the foot on the gas in the third quarter, and it was game over. Nikola Jokic took over. No Jamal Murray again, but it doesn't seem to matter, not taking anything away from Jamal. But when you got a guy like Julian Strawther, a rookie coming off the bench and banging in a bunch of threes, Calvin Booth strikes again. It's going to sound crazy, Rachel, but these Nuggets sort of remind me of Dynasty Warriors, that they can just sort of flip the switch at any time and turn it on. So, yeah, I expect them to beat Golden State tonight. And you know what would be great? Give Golden State a taste of their own medicine. Maybe the Warriors get up 10 in the second quarter, just like the Pelicans did. And next thing you know, the Nuggets are hanging a 45-26 quarter on them and taking a 10-point lead of their own into the fourth. It's going to be fun to beat Golden State because much like the Avs didn't beat Vegas to win the cup, which it's whatever, you can't pick your opponents. The Nuggets didn't beat the Warriors to win the finals last year. They got some help in that. So it does feel like the Warriors, you checked the Suns box. You got that after Suns and 4 guy. You exercise those demons. You check the massive Lakers box, a team you have so much unfortunate history with, but you still kind of got to check that Warriors box. And tonight could be the start of that.
Are you taking this as a close game tonight, or do you think that the Nuggets will be able to run away with it?
It's going to be close early because it just always is, and no Jamal. And then Jokic will take over in the second half like he always does. I'm looking for a potential another triple-double and a Nuggets win. So, yeah, I think at halftime we'll all be saying, ooh, good game, fun game. And then, we'll look up at the end of the night and the Nuggets will win by 14.
It seems like every single game there's a new younger player for this Denver Nuggets team that's having an amazing game and is absolutely just shining. Who would you like to see that be tonight?
Well, I was really happy with Strawther, against the Pelicans, but I still want to see it from Peyton Watson. He's had those. Malone made it very clear. I'm not just going to gift Peyton Watson the minutes because he's the next logical guy up. He's got to earn those minutes. And, it's only November, but we can already start thinking about playoff rotations. And we know 6 guys who will be in the playoff rotation. It's the starters and Christian Brown. But those other 2 spots firmly up for grabs, and Peyton Watson's got to go earn it because these guys want to win another ring. And what's more fun than winning another ring? Being on the floor when you win that ring. And Peyton Watson wants those minutes.
Who do you think is the Nathan McKinnon of the Nuggets locker room? Do they have one? Do they have anybody who is that serious about the game?
I don't think so. So I think it works though, because there's an intensity amongst the group that, is enough from just all of them combined. Whereas the Avs, it's like McKinnon is dragging these dudes at times, and I think that can wear on people. And I don't question Nathan McKinnon's leadership style, but I think it's so intense that I think at times other guys get a little tired of it. Whereas the Nuggets, it's sort of just like, we don't need that one alpha because we all kind of get it, Yeah. Like Aaron Gordon, I'm sure has his moments. KCP, I'm sure has his moments. Jamal, I'm sure has his moments, but not one of them screams to me, hey, I can confidently say Aaron Gordon and Nathan McKinnon are on the same level, because I can't.
Yeah. No, for sure. Real quick, opening night, typically when the Lakers come into town, you see quite a few Lakers jerseys. Same thing for when the Warriors have come into town in previous matchups. But as of recently, it's been all Nuggets. Are you just expecting the crowd to show up for the home team?
Yeah, I mean, they sold out Monday night against New Orleans. So if you can sell out a Monday night against the Pelicans, you sure as heck are going to sell out a Wednesday night against the Warriors on ESPN. So, yeah, I'd say probably, 80, 85% Nuggets fans, which is a huge upgrade from the 50-50 we had seen at times. And when those "Who's Your Daddy" chants are going, the Lakers fans could not be heard. So I expect the Warriors fans to not be audible tonight either.
We love the "Who's Your Daddy's" chants. Absolutely a blast. Just like it is having you out here, Will Petersen. Thank you so much for hanging with us.
Oh, yeah. Always appreciate it, Rachel. Anytime.
And everybody in the comments too, thanks for always hanging with us on these these weekday mornings, I should say. Man, I'm glad it's not a Monday. Thank you for hanging with us on these weekday Mondays. Come hang out with us tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. We're going to deep dive a little bit more into the Buffalo Bills as we get ready for the Monday night matchup. We'll see you guys then. Get back to work, everybody. Bye.